I'm gonna do this. I need music. La música. Hello, hello, and good evening. I'm so happy to be here with you guys on this beautiful Thursday. Look, I don't know what your Saturday, excuse me, hello, I just said Thursday. What your Thursday has been like. Today is the start of a new month. It's a brand new opportunity for you to hit that reset button. So today is the final installment of our summer sessions, building up to today's topic, which is building confidence. So if you haven't noticed, the discussions that we've been having the last several weeks have really been focused on helping us to build confidence. Speaking of, good evening again and welcome. I'm Dr. Nicole J, your confidence coach, helping you to find ways to build your confidence, to increase your confidence, so that you can go after the life that you desire and you deserve. So you've probably noticed the theme throughout our discussions, things we've been talking about. And I'll just kind of run through them very briefly here in a moment. But of course, we start off with our quotes first. First one is going to be, as is our confidence, so is our capacity. And that's by William Hazlitt. So that one stood out to me because, to be honest with you, we can only, if you think of us like containers, right? We can only hold so much. We can only give so much. I've talked before about us not being able to give what we don't have. We can't pour out if we're empty. So if we're empty, when you're confident, you don't need other people necessarily pouring into you. So if your confidence is big, your capacity is big. If you have low self-confidence, you have a very small capacity. And that's because you're not able to absorb the good things that are coming to you. You're not able to take on the good things that are coming to you because your mind is stuck on what you can't do. So that's the first one. The second quote today is, because one believes in oneself, one doesn't try to convince others. Because one is content with oneself, one doesn't need others' approval. Because one accepts oneself, the whole world accepts him or her. And that's from Lao Tzu. That one stood out to me because before we can expect other people to believe in us, to be confident in our abilities, we have to be that for ourselves. Do you notice that when you're confident in something, other people kind of rally around you? They start to believe in you because you believe in yourself. You ever notice that? It's such a big thing too, because too many times we're expecting other people to pick up the slack where we leave off. We feel like there's something that we should have accomplished, and we want other people to egg us on or to push us into our purpose and destiny. But it has to start with us. It has to start with ourselves. And so today we're talking about confidence building. And this is, as I mentioned, the final installment of our summer series leading up to tonight's talk about building confidence. Hey, Nisha. What's up, sis? Glad you can come on for a few minutes. Sorry, I'm just so excited to see you. So if you've been following along for any number of weeks, you'll notice that every single topic has been either in relationship to confidence or has been helping us to kind of build confidence. So first we talked about the impact of fear. Then we talked about finding joy, navigating relationships, being intentional, setting boundaries, reclaiming your identity, the comparison trap. I can talk about that all day. Mindset shift, walking in your power, And the last thing we talked about was increasing clarity. So in every single one of those topics that we discussed, they all have to do with how you live out your life on the grander scale. If you're not setting boundaries, you're not showing people how to treat you. How you treat yourself, how you talk about yourself, has everything to do with how confident you are in yourself and in your ability. So, the actual definition of confidence is a feeling of self assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities and qualities. So, I got to give you my definition, right? So, my definition of confidence is having a knowledge of and conviction in who you are and what you're able to do. Now, this can be built or strengthened over time. This is not something that everyone is necessarily born with. The confidence that they can do anything and they can be anything they want to be. Most of the time, it's built. We learn it. We're taught it, right? We learn it mainly from our parents, from those who raise us, those who pour into us, when they tell us that we can do anything. That's why I think it's so important that we pour into our kids belief in themselves. That's the foundation of confidence. Are you encouraging your kids that they can do anything? Are you giving them opportunities to make mistakes and try again? Are you teaching them to and I've been hearing this word so much today, period, at least 6 times I've heard the word grace, which tells me that, of course, it's something that's important. But are you teaching your kids? Are you telling yourself that it's okay to make mistakes and to keep moving? That mistakes aren't the end. That mistakes shouldn't keep you from believing in what you're able to accomplish. And so, let me ask you, is there a fine line between confidence and arrogance? Because some people think they're the same. If someone is very confident, they can come off as arrogant. Is there a fine line, or are they two totally different things? So, confidence is evidence of self-worth, right? So if you believe in yourself, you think highly of yourself, your confidence level is usually higher. And when you're confident, you don't necessarily need affirmations from other people. You don't need other people to affirm or reward you for being confident, right? And you also don't seek to devalue anyone. So if you ever think about if you've ever played sports and you've had people on your team who are really good, or maybe you were that person. I don't think I was like number 1 on my team, but I was usually in like the top 10 somewhere, right? So if you were one of the best players on your team, you may have, and you and your closest, friends on that team, if you scored or if you won, you may have been one of those people that gets in another player's face, that you feel the need to not necessarily just take the goal, just take the point as the reward. But no, you have to tell somebody that that you just got served. Is that confidence or is that arrogance? Because do we have that same confidence when someone else makes the score? And that's just a small example, but arrogance is more based out of insecurity, if we're being honest about it, right? So where confidence is based or related to self-worth, arrogance is kind of the opposite. It's based out of a knowledge that there's something that you lack, so you have to overcompensate in one area or several areas so that people believe in your ability, so that people can see your ability. And most of the time, when you're arrogant in those moments, your goal is to make someone else feel devalued, demeaned, less than, or even just more so that you're better. You do it better. You have a better mindset. You you have a better attitude, you play better, you think better, you're smarter, and you almost demand a reward for your abilities. So there could be a thin line, but I think they're on total opposite ends of the spectrum. In my opinion, confidence doesn't seep over into arrogance. It's either or. It's either, and you can feel free to comment if you feel differently. But in my opinion, if you're confident in yourself, you're not really concerned about making somebody else look bad. You're just proud that you did the job that you did. You're just excited about you being able to live out the purpose that you desired to accomplish. Right? To meet the goal that you desire to accomplish, not to make anybody else feel bad because they couldn't or because they didn't do it as fast as you or as well as you. And I hope that makes sense. And so, and so we might ask ourselves, why does confidence matter? Right? Because confidence doesn't ignore flaws or shortcomings, but it also doesn't place those things in the forefront. So it's not like it's not being confident is not being ignorant of the things that can cause us to not hit our goals or not be the best that we can be. But we choose in our mind, in our actions, we choose to lean on the strengths instead of focusing on the things we can't do. And so why does confidence matter? Right? And I'll just say that self-worth, belief in yourself, and feeling good about yourself are all key components of being confident. I can just by the conversation with you, and here's the thing. We're not confident. No one is confident in every area of their lives. Right? There was a time that I had very low confidence in my ability to be a mom, but that's because I was comparing what my motherhood looked like to someone else. And most of the time, that's what causes us to have low self-confidence. And we'll get more into that in a minute. But when we have that belief in ourselves, all of those things tie into us building up that confidence. And so this is important because it determines how you show up in life. It determines how you deal with your relationships, which is why we talked about that. It determines your intentions in life. You set higher intentions and higher goals for yourself when you believe in your ability to accomplish them. Have you had that happen for you before, that you may have failed or you may have fallen short of a goal, right? And then you kind of just decided that that's not for you. Not because you didn't enjoy it, but because you didn't have the success that you thought you would have. Well, when you think about confidence, it has very little, at the end of the day, very little to do with how successful you are in that, but more so in how you feel when you do it. And so how you show up in conversations, in relationships, how you show up on your job, those are all ways that confidence are important in your life. And so we've gone through each of those, because if you're not confident in the relationships that you're in, people will walk over you. People won't respect you. They won't respect your word. They won't respect your opinion because you don't respect you. Right? If you're not a person of your word, how can someone else trust you to do what you say you're going to do? And so it also lets people know if you're someone that they can believe in and support. So I can remember being in school and having fundraisers. God bless my mom. She really did try to help us with fundraisers, but that just wasn't her strong suit. Just asking people to donate to her kids, it just wasn't a thing. Like me, I'm gonna bring the paper to my job. I'm gonna ask my coworkers. And people know, because of other times that I've supported them and how I am at work, that I don't lie about things at work, that I'm honest, that I'm forthcoming. They don't think, oh, well, she's going to take our money and not give us the goods. No, when you're believable, people believe you. When you have a habit or a history or a track record of being believable and being somebody that people can trust, they will rally around you when it's time for, now this is most of the time. I can't speak to the people who, regardless of what you do, don't support you. I can't speak to those. But for most people, they rally around you because of your track record, because they know that you are a stand-up person. And all of those things have to do with how confident you are. And so you might be asking, why do some of us lack college? Excuse me, not college. I don't know where I got that from. Lack confidence. And it's my strong belief, as well as my experience, that for many of us, it starts in our childhood. That's where the basic building blocks of confidence are gained, right? How our parents spoke to us, whether or not they continue to encourage us and push us. Think about when you learn to ride a bike. Yes, we all fell off our bike. Well, okay, so let me say this. If you had training wheels to start off, you might have had a little more grace, because nobody really falls off of a bike with training wheels. But once those training wheels came off, we all practically fell off the bike at least twice, at least 2 times. Me, probably more like, 17, but most of us at least 2 times. But guess who knows how to ride a bike today? Because I had that encouragement to fall. It's okay. You're going to hurt yourself, but try again. But don't stop trying. Don't stop trying to figure it out. You see the other kids riding the bike, you want to do that. You want the success of saying, I've accomplished this thing. And so we teach our kids to not give up. When our babies are learning how to walk, when they fall 2 times, we don't say, I guess you'll never know how to walk. I guess you just suck at life. You'll never walk. We don't do that to our kids. Why do we do that to ourselves? Because somewhere along the line, we failed, or we fell short, and we didn't have that encouragement, whether it was an internal encouragement or external, telling us that we can do it, telling us that we have the ability if we just keep going. So repetition is another building block of confidence. Some of us that might be scared to speak in public, we don't become confident by doing it one time. We become confident and secure the more we repeat it. The more we find ourselves having small wins in that area. The more we see ourselves overcoming the fear, the easier it becomes, right? So it's the same way. I think that's why so many people lack confidence, because of that basic building block that was missing, of someone encouraging them in that way. And then too, there may have been a time that we encountered failure, and maybe it seems so overwhelming. It seems so massive. Maybe some of us had to file bankruptcy. Maybe we had a car repossessed, or maybe we got fired from a job and we thought we were doing a good job. And because of those things, we lose sight of, that's one area. We're not going to be amazing at everything. Guess what? I'm still going to try again. I'm still going to give myself the benefit of the doubt and keep going. Why would I do that? Because there's so much more on the other side of that fear. There's so much more for us on the other side of what somebody told us we couldn't accomplish. Do you know how much your confidence grows when you do something that people told you couldn't do? It's massive. And it's not to say that you do it to prove someone else right or wrong, but it's to say that you're capable of so much more than you think, and even more than other people think you can do. But you got to be confident in yourself before you can expect other people to believe in you. And so we talk about keys to confidence building. So I'll give you guys 3 points, and as I as I bring this last discussion of the season to a close, I'll say that the top three things that I've discovered are the keys to confidence building is knowing your strengths, setting your goals, and then becoming solution driven. So in talking about the first one, knowing your strengths. So we won't be perfect in the areas that we're confident in either. Yes, so I might be really good at organizing, but there are sometimes my room is a mess. I'm not always put together, but that doesn't mean that my confidence should waver because sometimes I don't get it right. Not at all. That's a very important key to know that we're not going to be perfect in the things that we're good at, but we should still know our strengths. And we should be able to lean on those strengths instead of focusing on our faults and our flaws. Because what makes us stronger? Strengthening our strengths. Not to say that we don't need to know what our weaknesses are. We absolutely should. Because we may need help in those areas. We may need support. We may need to have relationships with people who are strong in the things we're not strong at. But you have to know what you're strong at, first and foremost. And then you repeat. We go back to that repetition. The more you repeat those strengths, the things that you're strong in, the things that you just know hands down, this is what I do. Some people are amazing at planning events. I think I'm pretty good, at planning events. But if I had to list a top three, it's maybe a 4 for me, right? But so if that's your thing, if that's what you like, hands down, if you had to plan an event, it would be amazing. Would you care if somebody said that you're not good at cleaning? Like if your strength is planning, my strength is telling people what to do and putting it together. Why do I have to be good at cleaning? Right? So we don't focus on the flaws and the things that we need work on. We focus on the strengths. And we run with that. And then so number 2, goal setting. So we talked about this when we talked about setting intentions, right? So you start with what you know you can do. And this is for people who are building confidence. It absolutely doesn't start with the most outrageous, big, audacious goal we can think of. We don't start there. No. If we're building confidence, we got to start with what we know we can do. I know that in 3 days, I can put together this bookshelf. Small example, but I know in 3 days I can get that done. As opposed to, I'm going to actually rebuild this car in a week. That's not your strong suit. Your strong suit is following directions in a book to put together a bookcase, right? And so your confidence is built by doing what you know you can do. Not just what you're strong at, but what you know you can do. Whenever you set goals, you set the ones that you know you can achieve first. And then you make them bigger. Then that you make them harder. You make them the ones that you have to stretch and reach for. The ones that you have to dig deep for. The ones that you have to really put in work for. You have to build up to that. Otherwise, if you start off big, and maybe you do an amazing job when you start off big. But if we're talking about building confidence, think of it like a snowball. You got to build on top of, you got to keep rolling until you get to the place where it's big enough. Your confidence is big enough that no matter whether I fail, no matter whether or not I succeed, I still believe I can do it and I'm going to try again. And so then the third one is becoming solution driven. So anytime we're building confidence, we have to think about not just the problem, but the solution. Have you ever had somebody that always has problems that come to you? Like they never come with, let's say, oh my goodness, like, for example, I had a coworker of mine that would always bring problems. This is the thing. This is how my mind works. And maybe you're like me, maybe you're like my coworker, whichever it is, We're all growing. We're all learning. We all got to start somewhere. So my coworker comes to me and is like, I've been trying to do this thing for like 5 minutes and I just can't figure it out. I just can never, like, I can never get this. Why is it that I always get all the problems? I get every single problem. The thing is, the question you should be asking is, are you the person that is solving the problems? So she brings me the problem. In less than 2 minutes, I figured out the solution. The difference is our thought process and our mindset. If you're solution driven, then your confidence is built every time you every time you find a solution to your problem. So it doesn't start off that way. We don't have all the answers. We need help sometimes. We need guidance. But guess what? The more solutions you figure out from the problems that come your way, the more confident you are in those areas. The more able you are to help somebody else if you need to, because you have the ability to not just focus on what's wrong, but to figure out how to fix it. And that's a key mindset that you have to have when you're building confidence. And so I want to leave you guys with this today. I'm here to remind you that you are powerful, you're worthy, you are enough, you're capable, and that there's nothing that you can't accomplish when you put your mind to it. I hope you know that. I hope if you've been, whether you've been at every discussion we've had or not, I hope that's something that you have gotten from somebody you love, that your parents or someone important to you has poured into you. And if not, the journey starts now. You have to be the one to build those things. You have to be the one speaking into yourself. But I'm here too to let you know that you're more capable than you know. And no matter where you're starting on your confidence journey, no matter where you're starting at on believing in yourself and knowing how worthy you are, know that you got this. I believe in you. I love you even if I don't know you. And lastly, as you see pinned on the screen, if you have not yet purchased my book, sorry, the dog distracted me. If you've not yet purchased my book, You Are Enough, Rebuilding Confidence After Divorce. It's also for people who have been through a tough relationship and feel like they could just use some guidance and some help with rebuilding their confidence, with finding themselves again, with finding their self-worth again, with realizing that on their own journey, they have a purpose still. Definitely get my book for you, for your friend, for your sister, for your mom. BoldVibesLLC.com. I'll see you guys soon. As I mentioned earlier, this is the last installment of our summer series on building confidence. You guys have an amazing weekend, and I'll see you soon.